Replay. Replay.
Let's not take the piss here.
Replay. Replay.
I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Hello and welcome to Hip Hop World Cup, the podcast that pits golden age hip hop tracks and albums against each other in a contest to find the ultimate champions. I'm your host Danny Phillips and you're listening to Hip Hop World Cup Replay, a highlight show looking back at the best matches from our first series. It's a bit like Match of the Day, if Match of the Day only showed highlights of one match that took place a few years ago. Anyway, the reason we're putting these replay episodes out is that in our first series we crammed 8 whole albums into each episode. That's a lot of discussion about hip hop. So we thought it would be a good idea to single out and revisit some of the individual battles from that first series. When you think about hip-hop, many people's minds go straight to the Wu-Tang Clan. For many people, they encapsulate hip-hop, what hip-hop is. And one of the biggest success stories to come out of the Wu-Tang stable is Ghostface Killah. And in this episode, we are going to take a look back at our match between his debut album, Ironman, which came up against Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt. Again, a debut album by somebody who went on to become a massive megastar in the world of hip-hop. So yeah, please revisit this match with us. And joining me in the studio to look back on it and provide some commentary is Big Ron Atkinson. Ron, how you doing?
I'm sorry, you can sit there and look and play with all your silly machines as much as you like.
Okay, well, while Ron sorts himself out, we will get on with the match. We're going to replay it here in a minute. If you want to hear what Ron's got to say about this Ghostface Killah versus Jay-Z tussle, please press the red button on your podcast app and you can listen to that. Otherwise, yeah, please sit back and enjoy this match from our 1996 episode. Peace.
Come on, y'all, get live, get down. Is in your town. Come on, y'all, get live, get down. Is in your town.
Jay-Z versus Ghostface Killah. I mean, what a clash of the titans that is. Two of the biggest names in hip-hop. Steve, I mean, what are your thoughts on these two? Get the ball rolling.
Yep, the two big guns for me in this year. I mean, so Ironman for me is an absolute classic album. It's dark, it's raw, and I always say this, I prefer those long playing albums that kind of reward you for listening to it from the beginning to the end. I think it's got so many good raps, great beats, interesting samples, great skits. It's a really varied album, isn't it? It doesn't kind of have a style of like, I don't know, like Cuban Links or Liquid Sword. It does kind of like skip between different types of production. And
yeah, I'd say it sounds a bit more polished. It's quite a polished album for a RZA produced album. I don't know if you go along with that. Maybe I'm just talking in terms of the sound quality, but it's just to me this always feels quite polished. Whereas previous Wu-Tang albums, you know, especially their debut, was quite grubby, quite grimy. Yeah. This kind of
upgraded his kit, hasn't he?
He's upgraded his kit.
That Wu-Tang money comes in from the album sales. He bought himself like an O2R, digital mix or something like that,
and a Porter Studio.
Yeah. But I think it kind of sounds quite a lot like the Raekwon album, personally.
Well,
in terms of the beats and the samples and stuff like that, in terms of the choice.
I mean, I might be embarrassing myself kind of saying this because I haven't kind of listened to the two back to back today or anything, but I don't know. I understand the kind of how they were released chronologically, but were they necessarily recorded chronologically? I wonder if like maybe this and Raekwon might have been recorded at a similar time and they just broke up the two releases because they were quite similar. Is that, I don't know if that's known or whether that's you think that might be a possibility?
Possibly. I don't know that, but they definitely have Capadonna, Raekwon and Ghost all featuring very heavily, and they're all three of them are in their prime, aren't they? They're just they flow so fantastically on so many of the tracks.
I think I'd prefer Raekwon on this than I do on his own album.
On Faster Blade,
some of his best verses on this.
Yeah, on Faster Blade, that is his best track ever, and it's not even on his album. It's just him rapping, and that is just one of my favourite tracks on the whole album.
I also like the lack of Vanity that he lets other rappers go first on a lot of tracks. They take the
Yeah.
first verse and things like that. It's a very kind of democratic album, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where, you know, they've got a group of people. It's almost like a group. It's like a Wu-Tang album, basically. I like that about it. You never quite know who's going to come in first. But I think I would agree with you about the similarity to Raekwon. I think that Raekwon was also, you know, for a Wu-Tang album was quite polished.
That's the one it's most similar to. It doesn't sound anything like Takao, doesn't sound anything like Liquid Swords.
Yeah.
ODB's album had a kind of quite a unique sound as well, a very sort of sloppy,
Muddy.
lollopy kind of album. Whereas, this and Raekwon, they're both kind of cut from a similar cloth, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
All three of them suit the beats on here so well. They're just such a nice fit. I think that's what makes the album so good. And the whole of the album is greater than the sum of its parts because of how well that works.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it comes in strong with Iron Maiden. I love Iron Maiden.
Yeah,
it's such a great start to heavy beat, like really, really good classic RZA beat.
And
then
that dialogue at the beginning as well.
Yeah, I love the dialogue samples.
Message for Smokey, brilliant.
Brilliant. And there's more of that. I think it starts 260 as well. 260, and that is like my other big one. Al Green sample, really well used, but really it's just a loop and. He likes his loops, doesn't he? You know, there's probably a lot more going on than just a loop. But
I don't know. That is the one. The thing with this album that I was going to say about it is that it is quite a simple production. Like there are just a lot more just straight up loops on this. Like, and this is why I wonder if they were recorded and released like out of sequence, because it goes Raekwon, Jizza, and then this one, and Liquid Swords I think is just a much better, more detailed, richer production. There's more in it than kind of this, which is quite simple. That being said, like just talking about 260, which again is my favorite, that Al Green sample is just, it's so simple but so astonishingly done as well. But I don't know, I think what he's done, I think he's just sampled the right channel. Because if you listen to the original, there's like a much brighter string sample in the left channel. So he's just sampled one channel, monoed it. I think it's pitched down just by a semitone or something, maybe not even that. A little bit of a filter on it, and that's about it. And the bass is like he's tweaked the bass, but he's somehow taken that sample. It makes it sound so menacing.
I know it's masterfully done.
It's
one of those situations, like, you know, it sounds simple, but you or I couldn't do it. You know. I know. I don't know how you would.
I think you maybe could with this, because I think I've kind of described quite well what he's done.
But I reckon there's something else going on. There's some special sauce happening.
There might be, but it is quite simple. But it doesn't sound. How he's got this knack of taking like a soul sample and making it sound like it's come from like, you know, a horror film or something. It just sounds really menacing and
brilliantly done. I do. There's loads of really great tracks on there. I like Winter Wars, as you said. The Faster Blade is great. Iron Maiden 260. What's
Daytona.
the one? Wildflower's a nasty little track, isn't it? Is it Wildflower? It's all the sex stuff on it. And talking about women.
It's Kame as well.
Kame does that as well.
Kame is
kind of.
I think Kame and Fish are my favourite tracks. I think I have slightly different
Fish is monstrous.
We Fish.
Ghost, the way Ghost raps on there, is amazing.
Talking absolute nonsense though.
Oh yeah.
Which is exactly. I would say the best lyrical performance on this is on Daytona, which again is on the most simple beat you could possibly imagine. Tiny little kind of half a bar loop sort of thing.
Nautilus.
But the rapping is crazy, isn't it?
Oh, the rapping is incredible.
What is he going on about?
All
just
three of them.
Stream of consciousness, isn't it?
I think to me that is my favourite Raekwon verse. I just love the way it kicks off about, you know, I'm not going to kind of rap it myself. We all know it.
Go
on. I wouldn't want to. I'd do it too well. I think I wouldn't want to take the shine away from Raekwon. But I wonder if, like, those other two verses, Capadonna and Ghostface, are almost as good as it. And I think Capadonna really does himself proud on this album, generally speaking,
He's
being
brilliant.
on it with
Yep.
two kind of really good rappers.
Yeah, he
like
holds his own.
He
I mean,
holds his own.
Ghostface is considered by a lot of people as the best rapper ever.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite hard to argue with that. Like, he is incredible.
He's
Now-
consistently brilliant. Yeah.
No, but
Even all I got is you. The way he raps on there is amazing. If you go back
Yeah.
and listen to that, I mean, it's
Really
he's quite-
emotional.
yeah, but he's quite heavily quoted from some of the stuff in there as well. It's a really good rap. Really good rap.
Yeah. I do find though, however, that after you kind of get past Motherless Child, which I love, I think I was on the Sunset Park soundtrack
Yeah.
as well, which is kind of where I first heard it. I do kind of think it loses its way slightly, and
Yeah.
some of those tracks towards the end are a little bit less memorable, let's say.
After the Smoke is Clear is good.
After Smoke is Clear is good.
I
but
like
isn't that
I like
the,
Marvel. I like the way it switches. What I'm saying about the variety of the album. Suddenly you get these different type
Yeah.
of tracks at the end, which
For-
kind of
for me,
make it worth listening to.
I could have quite happily ended it after Motherless Child, and being perfectly honest with you. The ones towards the end, I found myself just skipping through them out of formality, but I listened to the rest all the way through when I was reevaluating it, and I think that tells you a lot about how I feel about those end tracks. But obviously, if you like a nice long player, like you say, Steve, then you're going to lap up those
the
last
end
tracks.
tracks. I think it's a good.
I
I think Marvel is a really good ending. It's just
Yeah,
I just think, you know that I wasn't the kind of the biggest fan of Cuban Links either. I think you'd make such a good single album out if you'd combine those two best tracks from Raekwon's album and Ghostface's album. You'd have an absolute. That probably would be the best Wu-Tang album then, I think.
yeah. So, how do you think this album compares with Jay-Z then? I mean, they're quite,
different.
sonically different. I think they're very different. And so, where do you even start to compare these two?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like an awful lot to say about Jay-Z on this album, to be honest. Like, it was one of those ones where, I just wasn't really checking for new artists at this point in my life. So I've never formed an attachment to it. There are a couple tracks I like on there, like Coming of Age, I think is a really good story, like really good beat, really good story, great rapping.
The back and forth on that track is really good, isn't it?
It is.
With
Memphis, yeah. And I don't know, I can't take away how good a rapper Jay-Z is, or his kind of place in hip hop, but I don't know, I've never been the biggest fan really. I like his stuff from Blueprint onwards a bit more. I think I remember him kind of being on Top of the Pops doing Hard Knock Life, like in '97, and just thinking it was just so stupid.
What do you think about the beats on this album, Larry?
I think they're just kind of all right. For me personally, I can see sort of why people, would really rate the album, but I don't know. Yeah, it's just all a bit kind of.
Lots of people say this is
to me really.
Lots of people say this is his best produced album, and I think it's got some great samples on it. I think it's got some really well chosen samples.
I think it's of its time.
Yeah.
I think if I had never deviated away from hip hop, if I'd still liked it and been checking for new artists as much as I was, a year or two previous, I kind of fancy that I would really like this album and I would kind of have it as one of my favorites, but I didn't and I don't.
Yeah, for me, this is a classic album. When I first got this album, I was so excited. I just listened to it constantly. I think Danny, I think you were probably into this album when it first came out.
Yeah, I mean, I was so excited about this album coming out. I was first introduced to him on Can I Get Open by Original Flavour, which came out, I think, in '93. And his verse on that, I just absolutely loved it. And I was looking forward to him releasing some of his own material. And eventually this came out. Really, really excited when it came out. We knew kind of Dead Presidents already. And then it came in with Can't Knock the Hustle with Mary J. Blige, who I also liked around that time, like with the album My Life, and which was only '94. And it just had all the right elements. I think a lot of what I love about it, let's start with the beats, is that they use a lot of really great soul samples.
Yeah.
Really great recognisable samples that I like, tracks that I actually love as well, just to listen to in their own right. Like you say, Coming of Age uses Inside You.
Inside You, yeah. It's just amazing.
And Brooklyn's Finest uses Ohio Players.
Yeah.
What's the Politics as Usual is the Stylistics Hurry Up This Way Again sample, and that is one of my favourite soul songs. So, and it was just flipped so well on this. I mean, I absolutely love what they did with it on that track.
Is there a Bohannon sample on this?
Yeah, that's what is it? Cashmere Thoughts.
Cashmere Thoughts.
Yeah.
But the thing that this album does well, Danny, is it doesn't just use samples well. It also takes great quotable hip hop samples, and in almost every single track, it's quoting like Nas or somebody famous, and you think actually I think they put a lot of thought into doing that.
Yeah, and well, in terms of like the hooks and stuff and the samples of other rappers and stuff on the hooks. Yeah, I think it's a good, nowhere more so than Devils, which is, I think that was always perhaps my favourite on here, the Primo one. Using the Snoop Doggy Dogg sample on the chorus and things like that. I thought that was really well done. That is one of DJ Premier's best beats, I think.
It's a hard beat.
It's a hard beat, really good beat, memorable beat as well. I just think the beats, I think Jay-Z's flow on this, his rhymes schemes are really clever. This is the only Jay-Z album I own and the only one I've ever heard. Obviously I've heard his later singles, but this is the only Jay-Z album I've ever I've got, and I just think I think it's masterful the way he rhymes on these tracks.
9 to 5 is how you survive. So many classic lines on it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be a tricky one to vote on, I think, boys. I think that's pretty much what we're learning here. Should we do it? Should we go for it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, Steve, let's start with you. Which one are you going for? Who are you voting for?
So, love Jay-Z, classic album, but I just think Ghostface Killah is absolute classic. I would rather listen to that all day. I could listen to it non-stop forever. So, Ironman for me.
Cool. Right, Larry, what are you voting for?
Yeah, I mean, Ghostface Killah isn't quite the album that I always imagined it was. Too much filler on there, but that being said, I would much rather listen to this any day of the week than Jay-Z. Okay, cool. Well,
it's it's all academic. I'm going to go for Jay-Z. I think it was always an album I much preferred listening to.
It's more your kind. It's more your kind of sound, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you nailed it there. Yeah, it's just my sound palette that I loved around the time, smooth soul samples and things like that. So yeah, Jay-Z gets my vote. But that doesn't stop Ghostface Killah winning our first semi-final 2-1.
Get on.
That's it. I hope you enjoyed that epic battle. Let us know what you think on X, Instagram, Threads and Blue Sky. Just search at Hip Hop World Cup. Give us a follow and let us know you're listening. Also, please subscribe and leave us nice 5-star reviews on Spotify, Apple or your podcast platform of choice. We also have a YouTube channel, so please check us out on there. But that's it. Thanks for listening and we'll see you for our next replay. Peace.
Good looking boy.